glad you could make it today and check out my double page layout. I'm doing a double page layout using the Paper Boutique Perfect Partners collection. It's an 8x8 album, 8x8 paper pad, and it is 160 GSM, and it's the Dusky pink one. I got mine, if you're an Aussie, I got mine from Craft Online. So sometimes I buy the smaller paper pads or paper packs, not for the fact that you don't always need 12 by 12 papers. And this is a perfect example to show you that I actually do a few sneaky things here to show you that if you can't afford to go out and buy all the latest 12 by 12 paper pads so you've got all of the things, this is a way you can get around it. So what did I do? I'm doing a double page layout, and yes, it's a baby layout. I am doing, I'm going back. So anyone that has been here for a little bit, I don't scrap chronologically, okay? I gave that up a very long time ago because I had a real issue with everything had to be in order. And it's not fun to scrap like that because you get stuck having to do so many baby pink things or, baby blue things because you're doing their baby photos and it seems like everything you put them in was pink or blue. So to get it to all coordinate, and it does my head in, can't do that. So what do? I don't scrap chronologically. I scrap for what inspires me on the day. And I have multiple albums on the go, and I add them to the albums after I do, now I've got my YouTube going, after I do a quick flip through, then I add them to the albums. Mind you, the giant pile I did a little while ago, 4 videos ago or so. Whew, don't let your pile get that big, people. Oh my goodness, it's not good. Okay, so I have sped this up a little bit because, as you can well imagine, this takes a little bit of time. Kept Mama quite busy over the weekend, but I really enjoyed it because I just had music playing in the background and there was just me and my thoughts and just chilling. It was so good. I love doing layouts sometimes that you don't have a lot of thought power required, if that makes sense. So what I did is I jumped on my Cricut because I wanted my hearts to be exactly the same shape. So what I did is I went into Cricut Design Space, found a heart that I was happy with, and what I actually wanted was the outside rim. So I wanted a hollow heart. That's what I wanted. So I know, and now you're thinking to yourself, Karen, you doofus, guess what? That's not a hollow heart. Keep watching. I will explain myself. So what I ended up doing was using the hollowed out part of the heart, and I used it to, instead of trying to attach these onto my 12 by 12, that would have, I probably would have given up because it would have done my head in. The easiest way I could think of doing was adding a tiny bit of tape to the back of these hearts, attaching them straight on my craft mat, and as you could see, they were easily taken back off again. It's not difficult. Then I just trim around the edges, so then I've got my perfect hearts, perfect, happy days, and they all match. I duplicated the heart when I shrinky-dinked it, so I did the big one first. Then I shrinky-dinked down and made 2 more. Just the rule of 3. Honestly, if you don't know what the rule of 3 is, when it comes to scrapbooking, odd numbers appeal to the eye a lot more than even numbers. That rule works 99% of the time. So if you're doing a single page layout, for example, then you can do, I could have gotten away with 2 hearts on there. It would have looked okay. It would have been balanced. It would have been fine. I had very little heart to attach that bit to, by the way. Hence, bring in the old trusty glue. I use art glitter glue, guys. Not for any other reason other than the fact that it's strong, it's amazing, has a nice fine tip on it. It's awesome. Love this stuff. Is it cheap? Nah. Probably the only thing I don't spend. It's probably the only thing I will pay the price for, to be fair. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll find it on sale somewhere. You know, any of my other things, I'm going on a tangent. Squirrel! Okay. So, what am I doing? Just trimming around these. I've sped this up 4 times, guys. This is sped up. I'm not kidding. It took me a quick minute to cut these out perfectly. And keep all the bits of it took a little bit, just a little bit. That's okay. Nearly done, trust me. So, what did I punch? What punch did I use? I have never bought border punches. Okay? Never have. Don't know why. It was never a big thing with borders with me. But of late, I'm loving me some borders. So, I decided to splurge, mainly because Craft Online had a sale on these particular border punches, and I thought, they're only $8. Give it a go. Gave it a crack. It looks so good. I managed to buy, I think, 8 of them, or 6 of them, 8 of them, something like that. And so what I did, I chose the one that I thought I could line up the best, if that makes sense, and would look good in bulk like this. So here's one of my trusty little trays. Why do I put it in there? I wanted to ink around the edges. This is Distress ink. Distress ink, and it is milled lavender. That's the colour that I chose to blend with this. I know these are dusky pinks, but this milled lavender has just enough cool colour that it works. So I went, you know what? I'll go around the edges. Then when I get to the very end of it, I don't know why I wasted my time, because I thought I needed to do it, but yeah, should be right. It's all good. Don't stress about it. So I went around these. That's my little trusty ink tray. Why do I have a piece of paper towel on the bottom? Because when I I don't chuck it, but when I place my dauber back in there, the bottom of my tray doesn't get all inked up. I can also clean off my dauber on there if I want to use a slightly different colour or whatever. Okay, so now I've put the heart on top of the other heart. Can you see that it sort of pops it off a little bit more? It gives it sort of a border around it, I guess. So, this is the longest part of my video process. Making these embellishments, I suppose you'd call them. These little guys, they did take me best part of a day to punch them all out. Aha. See, these are the hearts I actually wanted, and I wanted to just make these on top. Anyway, told you it'd speed up eventually. Okay, so I added some foam. I'm just showing you my other tray that's right. So that's my working in tray. So that's the tray that I'm working in at the moment. So anything that I take off here, spot the mistake. Spot what Karen's about to do. Okay. I thought this would go on dark enough, but it didn't. So I kept going, thinking, no, it's going to work, it's going to work, it's going to work. Guess what? Doesn't. It has next to no pigment. It doesn't look dark enough for me. I wanted it to, I feel like it blends in with the dusk, which is what you want it to do, but it's not dark enough. Very soon I realise I need a different technique. This is not working. Not to mention, would you like to know what the mistake is? I'm working on my craft mat without my cleanup mat underneath it. Okay, so I tried that. I gave it a go. It's just not dark enough. This is me procrastinating. Not sure what to do. Actually, I was having a drink by the look of that. Okay, change of plans. This is where I sat back long enough to register. Karen, you big donkey. It's not working. I wanted to yell at myself, but that's okay. So what I do now is I just had a quick play with some... See, when I cut things out like that, I use the rest of that cardstock as a border on another layout, so you're not wasting your cardstock. So on this is what I did. I just stamped the ink pad onto there so I could get more of a darker look on there. I wanted it not to be quite so blended looking. See how it's darker? Actually matches my nails. I wanted it, see how it's just darker than that one. So now I know I'm on the right track. This will work. I didn't add any water to this distress ink because I didn't want to warp the hearts at all. So those two are good. Now I just have to bring the old big one back. So I'm loving these ink pads. I really am. I know everyone uses distress ink, but I just love it. There's so many colours. You can mix and match your colours so well. I love it. Okay, so that's working nicely. Got my hearts. Now I just have to clean my mat, because if I put that away, I actually managed to get all of the ink up off the mat. Look at that. It's pretty good. I hate waste. I think I've mentioned that 50 times now. Okay, so it's at this point that I bring in my two 12x12s. Now, something you guys will notice is that my 12x12s aren't 12x12. I'm using up my old album pages in my older Creative Memories albums. What you will notice with those older pages is they actually have a border down each side, which is like it's extra. It gives it strength, is what it does. And what happens is they're actually only 11.5 inches of active space underneath the page protector. So I never even registered to this with all the other pages that I've done. So I found that's what made it so difficult, putting all my other 12x12s into their albums. So now what I'm doing is making my base 11.5 by 12 from the very beginning. That way, I do pan out here in a minute. I promise. I really do. I really, really do. You will be able to see the photos. I do have post-it notes over my photos. Oh, there you go. See, I told you I did it. I have post-it notes over my photos because it's me bathing my baby. You actually, in the photos, cannot see anything. But I did have an amazing subscriber that don't know their name, because it just came up in a little circle and it just had a letter on it. And I responded and said, thank you so much for telling me this. It was just letting me know that when you do certain things, the algorithm will block your videos or whatever. if there's suspect content, you know. This is not suspect content. This is my babe girl. But I felt that it would be the right thing to do to pop a post-it note over it. So, okay. I'm digressing. Okay, so this is where I start really putting my thinking cap on, because I have an 8x8 paper pad. That's what I'm using. Paper collection. Now, I'm just drawing a little notch underneath so I can get these back on in the same spot that I had them. Now, originally I was going to sew on these. I thought that would be like even more texture. Once they were done, I realised, I think that's just going to be too much. It's just going to be way too much. So, I decided not to do that. But I did do this. Now, I want this big giant heart to go across the 2 pages. Not evenly though. So that's not a mistake. I didn't put that crooked for a reason. That's how I wanted it. I wanted a larger portion of the heart on one side to the other. Mainly because this page could look very, very symmetrical. However, I'm trying to use the rule of 3. I think it works in the end. I think it looks good. Honestly, I think it turned out really, really nice. I love it. I think we can always fall into a little bit of a trap when it comes to scrapbooking baby photos, or younger children photos. Because, let's be honest, when you take photos of your baby, unless you're actually at a photo shoot or you're mindful of taking different types of photos, which at the time, let's be honest, you're dealing with your own body getting back to normal, let alone worrying about that. So what I did was, that's why I wanted to do something different on this page. The fringe love hearts, they're super simple, super duper simple. And so what I've done is I've added the craft foam. Now, the craft foam, I do have dots, so I could have done that. But the craft foam that I use is only, I'll measure it right now, because I go to say this every time. It is a giant 2mm. That's it. 2mm, or a 1/16 of an inch. If you're one of my American fans, are you proud of me? I got 1/16 of an inch. We don't even measure. Here in Australia, we don't measure in inches, but you'd be very, very surprised how many people in my age bracket, I never even learnt inches. I didn't learn that. We were metric by the time I went to school, let me tell you. But because our parents used imperial measurements for so many things, my dad, he's got his plant hire. That's not machinery hire. Okay, so it's called plant operators, blah, blah, blah. Machinery operators here, like trucks and trailers and dirt and construction and driveways and roads, and I'll word it all like that so I'm not confusing anyone. I don't even know where I was going with that now. I went down so far down in a rabbit hole. Wow. You guys are going to be learning some stuff about me. Measurement, that's what it was. Because he's in that field and has been my whole life pretty much. He always measures things in inches and whatnot. Sometimes he uses mils. Sorry about the car horn. Someone's apparently saying goodbye to somebody. Okay. All right, so now my 2 pages are joined together. This is the part that made me uber nervous. Uber nervous. I considered using my rotary trimmer because of the arthritis in my hands and my wrists. I don't have a lot of strength when it comes to downforce anymore. So I was hoping, didn't work. Okay, I could have stuffed this up so bad. And all those hours of work could have just, I tried so hard. I think it works. Get there in the end. Are you holding your breath for me? I would be if I was watching this. I'd be like, lady, you're about to make the biggest mistake ever. But I didn't. Look at that. I got 2 pages. Haha. Winning. Okay, so where am I up to now? So the rest of this video, that was the really complicated part. Well, except for the fact that now I actually ran glue, the tape runner, I ran that up the center of the heart. So this part of my heart's not connected. Whoops. My bad. It's all right. Glued it down. Goes under a page protector. Don't panic. A lot of my pages that I do, when I do single 12x12s that I really love, I hang them on my wall. They stay positioned on my wall. How many have I got? 3, 6, 12. I've got 18 photos that pages that hang on the wall, and I just rotate them when I come up with another one that I love. This one's not one that I'll be hanging on the wall, even though it's got lots of work gone into it. It won't be going on the wall. Okay, so what am I doing here? I have cut a piece out of the paper pack. I've just cut it half inch strips, and I just added this to the edges to give me a bit of a border. Now, what I could have done, do you do that? Do you go over the end and it drives you nuts because you've then got those little tiny slits of tape runner and it's on the edge? I do it all the time. Okay, so I just added that. So now I've got, technically, a border on each end. Now, my photos are going down each end. And then what I figured out was to add extra border. I didn't want it to all be square edged like the outside edge. So I ended up using some of the paper pad that I used. And there's some that has like little, they're like daisies. They're super cute. And it's all punched out, and I just added that across there. Now, it doesn't go all the way to the edge. Nope. At the moment, it's not bothering me at all. Because I'm using this as a, like a photo mount. Not this piece that I'm using at the moment, but it runs out to the edge, and then I'm going to mount my photos on top of it. Now, my photos that I print them on my Epson here at home, and I can make them all different sizes. I use the Epson app, which is called Creative Print, Epson Creative Print, and I can cut them all different sizes. Now, I'm actually really enjoying, sometimes I print really tiny photos, and one day I'll show you. Oh, actually I can't, because I used to do family daycare, and I ended up doing a really good, absolutely amazing scrapbook page, and it was pretty much scrapbooking 1 by 1 inch photos, and I totally covered 2 12 by 12 pages with these 1 inch photos. Oh, it looks so good. It's awesome. Very little other paper involved, but geez, it looks so good. So this is me procrastinating. What do I do? How do I do this? Around the edge, down the right hand side, it looks really good. This is where I go, aha moment, this is what you're going to do. So I'm going to run a strip up there, have that there. So essentially that border is going to become my photo mount, like my extra matting underneath my photos. But I'm not adding layers and layers and layers. Now I'm not worried that this piece here is a tiny bit taller or whatever. I'm not worried about that. That's how I scrap, by the way. This is why I skip bits and edit bits, because that's how I scrap. See, it fits perfectly. Now I've got the flowers going all the way along. So now if I add this, because I haven't glued down the actual scallop part of the lace design in the border punch, I can tuck this bit into it. So, and I just use my T-square ruler to get it straight. And when I printed my photos, you can see there, I printed them with a white border. So I cut the border down so it's about a 1 mil, 2 mil, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. It's not an 1/8 of an inch, I can tell you that. So then you just got to extend the strip. You can't even tell. Honestly, you can't even tell. I used to have a real issue. If it didn't go straight through 12-inch, I had a problem with it. People, I'm telling you, it's okay. It's okay if it's not perfect. I did cut that other piece just tiny bit too short. The only thing I wanted to do was make sure that I definitely got a good bond. Okay, if you can see things moving on my desk, I don't have a poltergeist. It's okay. When I was doing this, it was a Sunday afternoon and it was holy moly humid and hot. And my craft room gets the sun in the afternoon. So I have a blind that is a blockout blind and my window is tinted. However, I had my fan on 3 and it was blowing a gale, and I've only just noticed that it was blowing things on my desk. And it does look a little creepy. I'm not going to lie, it does look a little creepy. Okay, so you can see what I've done there. I've added the strips across, so now when the photo goes down, it's going to look like a photo mat. And you don't see the white in between the two photos. It also enables the photo's natural border, the white border on it. It just makes the photo sit up a little bit more. So took a little bit of playing and a little bit more fiddling, but you know what? I was enjoying it. It was something different. So, and see now when you put them down, they look like they're all photo matted. But it was only a couple of half-inch strips. So if you're one of these people just starting out and you're looking on YouTube, which is an awesome resource, honestly, you can get so many things. When you look at people's pages and you go through their videos, we do these videos for a couple of reasons. I do my videos to show you different elements on a page. It's not so much that you would go, I'm going to make a page exactly the same as that. What dimensions did she use? No. What I do, I like to consider myself an education creator. I want to help show you different ways, different techniques that can serve a purpose in your scrapbooking and creative style. Your style may not be my style, and that is a-okay. You may have a lot of outdoor camping and fishing kind of photos. You will very quickly notice I don't do the outdoors. Nature and I, we have a hate-hate relationship. So I actually can't go out in the sun very much because I burn due to medication that I have to take. So yeah, a lot of my photos, a lot of my inspiration, it's a lot of indoor stuff. Okay, so I've mounted my photos down the sides. There's a way, so there's a technique that I've shown you. If you don't have enough paper to fully photo mount your 4x4 photos, don't panic. Do strips like that and have a look at it. It looks just fine. Now, these, I have to find the name of them. Let me see. Come here, mister. These are the Tim Holtz. Tim Holtz? Yes, Tim Holtz. They are Sizzix Thinlets, ABCs, and dies that I put through my Spellbinder die cutting machine, and the number is 664406, and I got mine only last week, believe it or not. I bought the uppercase and the lowercase, and I love them. They come with so many letters. So there's like 5 A's and 4 B's and 4 C's. There's 5 U's. Like, you can literally, that whole thing that I'm gluing down there, my whole title, I cut it in one run. One run, that's it, done. Got it all, perfect. And I cut it out using the same plain cardstock. Everything matches perfectly. I love it. So, these for someone starting out, these dies, I've only just bought them, but these dies are fantastic. Why are they fantastic? Because you can now cut as many titles as you like for... I have never heard someone say that their dies have gone blunt. And they cost me $20. $20 on Amazon, delivered because I have Amazon Prime, free delivery. And I now, for $20, have untold amounts of letters that I can cut in any colour, anything. Like, it is endless. So these I didn't raise these up at all. Something I did on, I think it was the last layout or maybe the one before, and I saw Janet Fritz do it, and she adds the craft foam and then puts it through. So it adds the craft foam, sticks it to the back of the paper or cardstock, whichever you're using, and it goes through, cuts it all the way through, and it gives you a raised up letter. I didn't do that on these ones because I didn't want them raised. The only element that is raised is the outside portions of those hearts. Okay, this is where I was wondering, these are my Creative Memories bold tip pastel pens. I'm just showing you here because I did have a lady ask me, how do you store your pens? That's how I store them, just like that. And I've had those pens since, and these ones, since 2003, 2002, and they still work perfectly. The old Creative Memories pens, you might at the time think to yourself, oh, that's a bit for some pens. 20 years later, find me another pen that you've had for 20 years that works perfectly. So what I'm doing here is, I knew this right from the very beginning, that the white space in the background would bother me because it's too white. What I'm doing is just doing 3 little dots right next to each other. I do zoom in at the end so you can see them. It just adds a little bit. I'm using the metallic silver, and it just adds a little tiny dot on the page. It looks like it's just cute. I find it just takes away from the blandness. Down there is where I was going to do my writing. I ended up doing it up the top there. That way it ran in a diagonal down to the title. So here I'm just showing you close up. If I can get it to focus, see the dots? Awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're still with me, I would love you to like and subscribe. That way you will be notified when I do another video and post it. I will also be doing more videos, pretty much posting one every other day. So I hope to see you in the comments and or subscribe, and I will chat to you again soon, guys. Thanks very much. Have a great day.